Welcome to the TUE review. This week we are checking out Krausen. This is a fully Krausened, cold filtered lager, and this is from the folks at Art History Brewing Company out of Geneva, Illinois, which is a Chicagoland western suburb. So Krausening beer, that is basically the process of naturally carbonating beer. They would add basically the fresh wort, which is the brewing water, which is sugary water, along with some live yeast, and they throw that in the finishing tank to naturally carbonate the beer. Today's modern beers are largely force carbonated, which basically they run the uncarbonated beer through like a carbonating stone, and they literally force the gas into the beer. It happens very quick. But Krausening, that process can take 1 or 2 weeks. It was the way back in the day that all beer was carbonated, but now it's a kind of a historical style of doing things. And based on the amount of time that it takes, not nearly as profitable, and you can't turn the beers out as quickly when you Krausen versus force carbonation. But one thing with this process, I tend to find that you have a more subtle carbonation, so you don't quite have as much air forced into the liquid. So I do think you get more of the flavor of the beer and less flavor of the air. So let's go ahead and check this out. This comes in a really cool 16-ounce can. There's your independent craft brewer logo. There is some info here. Yeah, here we go. This is actually very low in alcohol. This is, where did I see this? 4.6% ABV, so very sessionable, as it should be. This uses American 2-row and 6-row malted barley. Most of Europe is familiar with the 2-row barley, but when European brewers came over to America, they ran into the 6-row malted barley, which has more proteins in it and creates more of a protein haze in the beer. So it creates a fuller bodied beer, but also a haze, which the European brewers did not like, which is when they started using adjuncts, things like rice and corn, to go with the 6-row malt to help clear it up. But that's a whole different TBR story that I'll tell you at some other point. This also has Koya hops. Koya, that's more of a finishing hop. It's very subtle, but I'm assuming this beer has a very subtle flavor profile, so they're using a very subtle hop. And then lastly, it does mention that it's cold filtered. That's a process of bringing the finished beer down to almost freezing. And then they run it through a filter. When you bring the temperature down, that causes all those proteins and polyphenols in the beer, all those molecules to kind of clump together, and they're easily filtered out. So you have a very clean tasting and clean looking beer. Okay, enough with the beer geek talk, Steve. Just pour the damn beer. All right, so and there you can see the effects of the cold filtering. We've got a very clear, clean looking beer, nice kind of straw yellow colored, actually more bubbly than I would think of for a Krausen beer, but it's got a nice frothy white head that appears to be breaking down pretty quickly. We can get the sweet corn aromatics, and definitely some graininess in there too, but I do get kind of that cream corn character along with some of the kind of the bready, grainy characters. Cheers. Yeah, flavor follows suit. Very clean. Grain, malt, cream corn. I'm getting a little bit of like the herbal hop character. It's subtle, more in the finish, but it's there. Also getting a little bit of a fruitiness. I don't think that's coming from the hops. It's interesting. Normally with lager such as this, you get a really clean finish. This has, again, getting the hops in the finish. It's subtle, but it's there. Also the sweetness of the grains is there, but I'm also getting that fruitiness, and that's more of an ale characteristic. It's not off-putting. It's pleasant, but stylistically speaking, it's not really to the lager style. But smooth finish, very light-bodied, again because of the style and because a lot of the proteins have been cold filtered out. Very light in character, very crushable. And again, a little bit of a fruitiness, which is more ale-like, but very easy to drink, very pleasant, and a nice little nod to history. So if you get a chance to check out a Krausen beer, please do. I couldn't also help here but notice that this beer has been horizontally lagered, which reminds me of a few times back in the day when I had a few too many beers and I was horizontally lagered. So there you go. Anyway, I digress. Here you have it. Krausen cold filtered lager from Art History Brewing Company. Cheers.